Have you ever come up with a good media placement idea, but then after it happened, you realized that, hey, that wasn't that good of an idea?
Yeah, so it wasn't related to a candidate or a candidate's campaign, but it was a corporate advertiser that was trying to reach what we call public affairs opinion leaders. Those folks who are highly informed and highly involved in terms of current events and civic involvement. And we thought that a good place for them to advertise would be on Comedy Central's Daily Show, at the time hosted by Jon Stewart. And we ran a short schedule in the fourth quarter on his show, and the last night that our spot aired, Mr. Stewart actually was aware that we were advertising on his show, and I guess did not agree with the advertiser or who they were, and spoofed our ad for about a 5-minute segment.
But only after he cashed the check.
Only after he cashed the check, yes. And it turned out to be it was a funny 5-minute bit, but the client was not too happy. And by the time he did it, he's a smart fella. He realized that he did it at the point where we couldn't take any recourse against him by canceling our schedule. There was nothing we could do. We haven't bought the Daily Show since for that client. But that was an example of we still think we hit the right target audience, and.
Just hope they all.
Jon Stewart saw it, so.
Jon Stewart obviously thought we were hitting the right target.
Yeah, so that was one case we had.
We had years where we had blacklists of programs. I mean, we couldn't buy any of them, and the Saturday Night Live was one of those programs.
Really?
The Simpsons was one of those programs.
Really? Why?
And it was just they thought that
was old school. The content is not appropriate
right.
for.
Absolutely, and you look at who our the coalition of Democratic voters are. It tends to be younger. It tends to be more ethnic. And people who watch Saturday Night Live tend to be more liberal. All of those things, and there was just a blockade on those programs, and there was like, let's place moral news, and for years we tried to get around that, and I think in 2012. When we had more access to set-top box data, which is helpful, it's not the only thing that we use, but it was helpful. We were able to show that those programs, and we had kind of reversed that blacklist before that, but it really showed that that's where a lot of our voters were actually regularly tuning in, that and like the Big Bang Theory and things like that.
It's funny when you say The Simpsons. One of my earliest memories of politics and pop culture crossing paths was during I think it was the '92 election. The Simpsons. Maybe it was 92, maybe it was 96.
It's 92.
I'd have to go back and check. When Clinton won. But The Simpsons, obviously, they have to draw their show and script it, weeks, months in advance. And the Sunday after the election, their episode aired, and they were referencing the election. And Homer was talking, and then it stopped, and a different voice came in and said, Bill Clinton. They were talking about who won the election, and it was a very funny bit. But that was one of my first memories of politics and pop culture intersecting. So it's interesting to hear that you have clients that say they don't want to be on Simpsons, because I always thought that it skewed a little bit to the left. But
no, I've seen that. There used to be a lot more of that than there is now.
Yeah.
Where the media director at an agency would kind of be the guardian of what was proper and not proper.
Yeah.
But now with data, you can see. I remember in the Bush campaign, in 2004. We based on the data, we broke down the blacklist. We started buying, programs that had a, gay story theme, or we even bought some Simpsons because they were the football fans that we were trying to get to, who were
still watching,
too buzzed from drinking beer to get up from the couch to change. They love to watch the Simpsons. So.
Yeah. Speaking of the data piece. We ran some data in 2012 as well when it was first started, and we were trying to target female voters in our battleground states. And ESPN was the number 2 overall network for female voters, and so sometimes we have to question. We obviously have to question the data in any case. We definitely have to question the data in that case, and really take a hard look and kind of compare the two data sources to make sure that the data isn't just dictating the buy. Because you don't want to. We had calls, like we had a buyer place a female-oriented spot in a Nationals game, and we got a call about that. And we looked at the target audience, and it was close to 50-50. But judgment-wise, obviously that probably didn't make a lot of sense until we we whiffed on that a little bit. So, yeah.